Urgent! Warriors receive bomb news post-Grizzlies. Trade in sight? Attention! Warriors Nation! A post-Grizzlies bombshell just went off and it could change the squad and the direction of the season. If you were thrilled with today's victory like I was, take a breath. What has arrived now comes from behind the scenes at the front office and is exactly the type of movement that we have been asking for weeks. It has a big name circulating, a fit that changes rotation and decisive minutes. Stay with me, because in a few seconds I'll tell you who the target is, why it makes sense, and how it could impact Curry, Clay, and the second unit in the next game. Let's get straight to the point. If this bomb makes sense to you, like it now and subscribe to the channel. Activate the bell so you don't miss the next updates. In the next few minutes, I'll show you the trade scenarios, the impact on the rotation, and who could be the strategic piece that changes everything. Comment Warriors so I know you stayed this far, and let's move on to the details. If you follow the channel, you know that I like to start our conversations at the point where the story really changes direction. And in this case, the turnaround was not just on the scoreboard, it was one of posture, purpose, and identity. After a night to forget, 25 turnovers against the Portland Trail Blazers and the first defeat of the 25-26 season, the Golden State Warriors returned to the court with something to prove, and it proved. Against the Memphis Grizzlies, they won 131-118. And more than that, they presented a version of themselves that we have been asking to see for some time. A team in which youth not only participates, but sustains the result. I want to talk to you like I talk to those who are here every day, honestly, eye to eye, analyzing the game like someone exchanging ideas after the game. Because yesterday was not about one man. It wasn't about waiting for Wardell Stephen Curry to decide each possession as if he alone carried the franchise's most successful years on his shoulders. It was about a young nucleus that asked for responsibility, received it, and delivered it. Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and Moses Moody combined for 68 points. Reading that number is one thing, understanding what it means, another. It means that the leadership transition plan, the one we so often treat as a hypothesis, has gained materiality, rhythm, and, above all, confidence. Let's start at the beginning, as the night's narrative was built in layers. The hangover from the Portland game was evident in the atmosphere. After so much waste, internal charges were inevitable, and that's when the character of a cast reveals itself. When the response comes quickly, with visible adjustments and commitment to small actions, the kind of commitment that appears in the details, not just the highlights. Against Memphis, the Warriors' ball was lighter and more objective, less dribbling to nowhere, more cuts without the ball, more reading of advantages. The difference from one game to the next wasn't just tactical, it was mental. And this mental aspect had three protagonists with first and last names. Jonathan Kuminga was, once again, the spark and the flame. What stood out was not just the statistical line, 25 points, 10 rebounds, and the physical imposition that we know he has, but the way in which each point seemed to make sense within the collective proposal. Kuminga of the night was a player who chose his moments. He didn't insist on medium-range shots that often interrupt the offensive flow. Instead, he attacked the rim, ran in transition, generated second possessions, and, above all, accepted the logic of the game that the team needs. Cut, receive, finish, seal, rotate, score. On the other side of the court, the same story. Engagement, communication, and discipline. He had a chance to guide his teammate in defense, he had body in front, he had competition at the top, and when he made a mistake, he made up for it with energy and reading in the next play. This is the Kuminga that changes the equation. There is also a detail that reveals maturity, the free throw line. Nothing changes the mood of a balanced game more than the ability to convert easy points. In his last two games, Kuminga was 14 for 15 from the line. In this one, 7 out of 8. This type of efficiency testifies to focus, and focus, for a player who lives off physical impact, is the border that separates promise from reality. I won't be shy about saying he plays as an early candidate for the Evolution Award, not for the score itself, but for everything that comes before it. Positioning, cutting, defending in space, patience to wait for the pass, and everything that comes after, the sequence, the offensive rebound, the sprint back, the next coverage. If Kuminga brought the strength and the wide gesture, Brandon Podziemski brought the wrist. There are point guards who control the game by accelerating. Podziemski controls by decreasing. And when I talk about reducing it, it's not taking away intensity, it's taking away anxiety. He refuses the obvious first pass to reach the right pass, takes contact when necessary, offers his body to take the attacking miss, and stays true to the line. Reading of the simple bid. His 23 points with 6 assists and, this is the crucial point, 0 waste on a night in which the team still had 15 turnovers, speak for themselves. But there is something silent about its impact. Healthy predictability. With him, everyone on the court seems to know where to be and when the ball will arrive. And when the pitch comes, he doesn't hesitate. Finished 5 of 7 from the perimeter. It started burning. This isn't just hot hand. It's footwork, reception angle, body preparation, and confidence built possession by possession. Moses Moody was the bridge between the two realities. On the one hand, the explosion of someone who feels well physically. After losing the first 2 games, the leg appeared. On the other, the maturity of someone who has already understood that their greatest value lies in being trustworthy. 20 points on 5 shots on 7 three-pointers aren't just numbers, they are a map of your role. Space the court, punish help, protect the point of attack with discipline, and when the ball returns, re-establish the rhythm. It wasn't just a good pitching night, it was a correct reading of where the gaps were. And, in defense, something that goes unnoticed in the best moments. The restraint in the first step, the challenge without fail, the hand always alive in the passing line. The kind of detail that coaches love and that guarantees minutes when the rotation gets tight. When the youth holds that piano, the veterans can play another type of music. Stephen Curry had 16 points with efficiency and the serenity of someone who understands exactly what the game demands. It's a luxury to be able to say this. The Warriors won a regular season game without demanding heroics from their biggest star. Jimmy Butler, in turn, scored 20 points, hit the rare long balls he chose to take, and, even with 5 wastes, a high number for his standard, he balanced the account on the other side, generating a defensive impact, seeking contact, demanding presence. Draymond Green started distributing passes as if dictating the tone of a concert. 7 assists in the first quarter, 10 in total, many of them born from cuts that only exist because the ball genuinely threatens all sides of the court. When the attack is connecting like that, the Warriors are very difficult to contain, and we also had the elements that give texture to a victory. Will Richard was pure energy, what doesn't fill the box score but fills everything else. Timely cuts, positioning, availability for the extra pass, discipline in defense. The first basket came from an intelligent read on the offensive rebound, with a subtle touch to Quinton Post, and on the return of the play, receiving a free kick under the basket. It's the type of move that changes the team's mood. It communicates that everyone is connected. Speaking of Post, 2 denials at the rim against Ja Morant, both clean, both perfectly timed, are a statement of presence. These are plays that not only avoid 2 points, they discourage follow-up penetrations, alter the opponent's plan of attack, and open up the transition. You may be wondering, what explains such a radical change from one game to the next? The answer, in my reading, lies in the sum of the details. First, the reduction of hasty decisions. Mistakes will happen. Kuminga, for example, still had his 3 chaotic possessions, that low head that messes up the dribble. But the difference is that now they don't become a sequence of mistakes. The immediate correction comes, a block, an attack rebound, a strong light screen that frees the teammate. Second, the commitment to playing without the ball. At several moments, we saw cross-cuts that confused Memphis's defense, hands always ready to receive, and greater care to attack the closeout without compromising balance. Third, patience in building the three-point shot. The team ended the night close to 47% from the perimeter. This doesn't happen by chance. It happens when the ball travels with purpose, when there is inward penetration and kick-out, when the advantage is created, sustained, and converted. There is also an important emotional aspect. After a frustrating game, the Warriors could have adopted the narrative of reaction through pride, that desire to prove a point just through intensity. Instead, he chose to prove a point through method. That's the big news. Intensity without method produces peaks and valleys. Method with intensity sustains performance, and sustained performance is what separates good times from good seasons. With the victory, the team reached 3-1. It's not the number itself that's exciting, but the path it suggests. I want to open a parenthesis here to talk about Curry's own speech about young people. He was direct. In our attack, there is not that much isolation. You need to have confidence to finish when possession asks for it. This phrase, for me, is an invitation and a reminder. An invitation for young people to take responsibility when the gears create the space. And a reminder that responsibility at Warriors is shared. The SIS. The theme calls for reading, movement, and courage. It's not about having the ball. It's about earning it with every cut, every screen, every defensive help. And yesterday, the youth deserved it. Now, let's talk about what lies ahead. When a young team delivers this consistency, adjustments come more naturally. The rotations become more obvious. The roles become clearer. Kuminga as primary slasher, generating collapse and pressure on the offensive board. Podziemski as a metronome, keeping the rhythm and punishing assists with the outside shot. Moody as a reliable spacer and guardian at the point of attack. Around them, veterans who enhance this base, Curry gravitating entire defenses, Draymond connecting everything, Jimmy Butler imposing physicality, and reading on both sides. It's an ecosystem. When everyone respects the rules, the ecosystem flourishes. I say this because what we saw is not something not replicable. We don't depend on a surreal game from someone who scored 60 points outside the curve. We depend on habits, good shot selection, quick decisions, occupying space, defensive communication, patience to transform a small advantage into a basket, and of course, discipline to not sabotage yourself, something that had been making life more difficult than it needed to be. Against Memphis, turnovers still existed, but they didn't define the game. It's the difference between tripping and falling. You who are here with me know that I don't romanticize. There are points to improve. We still see moments of precipitation. There are still avoidable fouls at the end of the clock. We still have lapses in box-outs that give life to the opponent. And on the veteran side, it is possible to demand cleaner nights in terms of ball losses. Jimmy himself, for example, will certainly review decisions that resulted in 5 wastes. But it is precisely because I recognize the missing adjustments that I feel confident, because those who have already come are the most difficult, those who ask for maturity. And yes, there are conversations that take place behind the scenes that influence this maturity. You can see in Kuminga's stance that the dialogue with the cast's leaders, and here I include Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, had an effect. It's not just playing better, it's about playing better within what the team asks for, without forcing protagonism, but without outsourcing responsibility. This is rare in young athletes, and when it happens, it's a pleasure to see. I want to take a moment to talk to you who lives the team beyond the scoreboard. This channel is not about cold statistics, but about what statistics try to tell. When we celebrate a night like this, it's not just for 131 to 118. It's because of the symbol. It symbolizes that when veterans need to manage minutes, there is support. It symbolizes that in games where Curry's ball doesn't fall early, there are those who compress the defense and lighten the bar. It symbolizes that in a dense calendar, there is a young leg to maintain the intensity. And it symbolizes, above all, that the project has continuity. That's the word I like to use today, continuity. Think about the chain effect. The coach's confidence in distributing minutes grows. The confidence of teammates in cutting, knowing that the ball will come, grows. The young man's confidence in accepting the simple game without trying the impossible move grows. It's a positive spiral, and positive spirals are the most valuable asset of a long season. They carry the group through weeks of travel, through cold pitching nights, through tough away games. It is no exaggeration to say that victories like this are worth more than any victory in November. They are worth a lesson. And since we're talking about class, here are 3 lessons that, in my opinion, sum up the night. Ownership belongs to those who understand it. It's not about the name on the shirt when deciding, it's about the right reading. Podziemski was the emblem of this. The team trusted his driving because he trusted the basics. Physical presence is a tactical resource. Kuminga transformed strength into a system. He ran, cut, sealed, attacked. When energy finds direction, the game obeys. The three-point shot is a consequence, not a starting point. Moody threw very well because the team created the conditions: penetration, collapse, extra pass. When the Warriors experience this chain, the outside numbers appear. If you've made it this far, it's because you love the game like I do. And that's why I'm making this invitation. Let's continue analyzing together, game by game, how this identity solidifies. Let's celebrate what works, point out what's missing, and most importantly, understand why things happen. When I look at that 3-1, I see more than a promising start. I see a possible roadmap for a competitive season, not by relying on an isolated stellar night, but by building a replicable base. To close, I leave two images that I want you to keep from the match. The first, the moment in which Kuminga, after missing an infiltration, returns in the same momentum, contests a shot, secures the rebound, and then runs the entire court to receive and finish. It is the sequence that defines maturity. The second, Podziemski with the ball at the head of the bottle, calling pick and roll, reading the exchange, taking half a step back, and finding Moody's shot in the corner. It's the play that defines control. Between the maturity it runs and the control it organizes, there is a team with a look, rhythm, and direction. The calendar continues, and the next round arrives quickly. What matters is that today the Warriors gave us a clear glimpse of what can be when each piece accepts the role and executes with conviction. It was a message for the league and, above all, an internal message. You can win in different ways. You can distribute responsibility. You can build victories from youth, with veterans as a frame, and not as a crutch. If you enjoy this type of analysis, stay with me. Here, the conversation doesn't end at the final whistle. It starts with him. Let's watch together how Kuminga maintains his intelligent aggression, how Podziemski consolidates his calm command, how Moody asserts his shooting and defense at the point of attack. Let's watch how the veterans fit that energy into the season's puzzle. And of course, we will demand when bad habits insist on returning, because that's how a team grows, recognizing mistakes, correcting them quickly, and multiplying successes. In the end, basketball is a constant dialogue between intention and execution. Against Memphis, the intention was clear. Play the right game. The execution followed. Let this be the rule, not the exception. When that happens, you and I will know, from the first touch of the ball, that the night promises. And if you promise, we'll come back here to talk again, with the same enthusiasm, the same attention to detail, and the same joy in seeing a team discovering who they are. Because when the identity appears, the score usually likes what it sees. And so do we. Before you leave, let me issue you a challenge. If this game showed the birth of a new version of Warriors, let's follow this transformation step by step without missing anything. I prepared a complete sequence, organized by themes and games, with tactical X-ray, play breakdown, youth evolution, and Kerr adjustments, all in the same place. Click now on the Warriors Analysis playlist and binge the episodes. There you find deconstructions take possession of key moments, Kuminga's evolution as a slasher and offensive rebounder, Podziemski's metronome, rhythm, reading, and pitch, Moody's role in perimeter gravity and point of attack, how veterans shape the ecosystem, Curry, Draymond, and Jimmy putting the pieces together. Don't leave it for later. Press play on Warriors Analysis, save to favorites, and activate Watch Later. In the next video, I'll show how 3 off-ball cuts opened up 4 free throws from the corner, and why that can be the difference in big games. Did you set out to transform statistics into understanding and victory into habit? So go to the Warriors Analysis playlist now and come with me.